Let's go.
June in the building. We got a special guest on the podcast today, all the way from Baltimore.
Baltimore? Are you in Baltimore?
New Haven.
New Haven,
Connecticut.
CT dot. My man Tiger. But you know how we always start off the podcast, just checking in on how folks has been living legendary. And for y'all, maybe the first time jumping in, legendary is just how are you pushing yourself to better yourself, continuously growing in any way. We know that to grow, we got to get outside our comfort zones, and in order to do that, to leave a legacy for those that are coming, we got to push past our limitations. And so, living legendary, man. For this week, living legendary for me, it comes down to the fact that I'm coaching my son's soccer team.
Okay.
Yeah, that's real legendary for me because I grew up without my father, and the man never came to none of my sporting events, none of my games, none of nothing. And so, like, I don't even really know nothing about soccer. I got kind of asked to do the joint, but both my sons are playing, and I told them I was coaching, and just to see how hyped they were, and and to be on the sidelines, and it's like, yo, that's your dad, right? And like, I'm coaching the whole team, and it's just fire to see them. They're going up with a whole different thing. So for me, I'm living legendary because I'm trying to learn about soccer, Tiger June, and I'm coaching my sons, and we won the game that I coached last Saturday. We won 7-2.
7-2. That's a blowout.
7-2.
That's a blowout.
No, but I got some ballers. I got some ballers. No, I got some ballers on the squad for real. But that's how I'm living legendary, man. So, June, what about you?
Yeah, the way I'm living legendary. So I actually had a conversation with my brother Kiko on this week, I believe, about getting back into singing. You know what I'm saying? So about 2.5 years ago, I stopped singing, and I've been doing that since I was like 14.
Hit it with a little falsetto,
hey, So, I mean, yeah, man, I think it's time. And the ones that were pushing me were actually my kids. Yeah. My kids was like, "Bob, when you going to get back into singing? You know what I'm saying? We miss you singing and stuff like that." And, you know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, in my head, I was like, right now is not the time. But just started praying through some stuff and just felt like it was the time, right? So I'm just kind of get back into it slowly but little, little by little. And started the conversation with my brother Kiko because he's the worship director at the church that we go to. So he's gonna be my boss there. So that's weird.
and listen, if y'all haven't heard June sing, you can go to our YouTube page. We did an album, like a little EP, in 2020 when we couldn't go into DYS, called Letters to DYS. Yeah. And June's on there, so you can go to our YouTube channel, which is Legendary Legacy Inc.
And also, Ron was throwing some bars too.
I did. I got 16 on one of the joints. I got 16 on one of the joints, but we're not talking about that.
So how about you, Tiger? How are you living legendary?
I'm living legendary because I'm on the Legendary Legacy show today.
Hey,
podcast.
Appreciate you.
You know what I mean? I appreciate you brothers having me. That's my legendary moment today.
Okay.
Word.
Absolutely.
So listen, we're gonna jump right into it, man. So for all our listeners, letting you know how we even got on it before he jumps on. We were on a joint training with our brother Tiger, and through Roca, it was
shout out to Roca.
Shout out to Roca for real.
Yeah. Absolutely. Shout out to
Derek,
Roca.
all of them.
Yeah.
But what it was a group training for organizations and similar folks that are doing this work with those that are caught up in the criminal justice system on any part of it, whether they are in some activities that might end them up there or currently returning from it, whatever it may be. And so Tiger does some of that work. We'll let him chop it. But the rewire was really digging into some of the ways that we think and really helping us to equip ourselves and get the tools we need to really first help ourselves. And then be able to help the participants and brothers we're working with on how to think through and make wise decisions and not get caught up. So I know June got to talk. We had some breakout rooms and stuff. And then, like, my man June came back after the first breakout room. He was like, "Yo, Ron, this dude Tiger's nuts, bro." I was like, "What you mean?"
Like, "Yo, we need to get him on the podcast or just build with him." I was like, "He's just different." He reminds me a lot of our boy Miguel.
Yeah.
But just, man, I heard a little bit of your story.
Thank you,
in some of the breakout rooms, and man, he's just full of wisdom. And I was like, "Yo, we gotta get homeboy on." So I reached out to him, and he was like, "Yeah, for sure, man. Let me know, man. I'm with it." So we're excited to have you and hear your story today, brother.
So with that, man,
appreciate y'all having me.
One of the ways we usually kick that off is a simple question. You answer however you want. Is how did you get here? How did you get here?
To this podcast, or how did I, you know what I mean, to
Yeah,
where I'm
to
at
this
today.
place, to the fact that we chopping it with you.
Yeah,
Like,
what's your
what
story?
was the trick? How did you get here?
All right, so my name is. Let me introduce myself
For
first.
sure.
My name is Tyrone Whitaker. My name is Tyrone Whitaker. I'm from New Haven, Connecticut, born and raised. I'm 51 years old. Um, I'm glad to be here today. Glad you guys had me on. Just want to talk about my lifestyle. I'm here now because I'm a violence prevention professional at Connecticut Violence Intervention Program. That's my current position. But before that, at 16 years old, I was running the streets, selling a lot of drugs, into a lot of gang activity. And at 16 years old, I took another man's life.
Mm.
I was sentenced to 50 years in prison.
50
Um,
years. Woof.
from 17 years old, I turned 17 while I was incarcerated. From 17 years old to 47, I was incarcerated. I walked out of prison August 17th of 2017,
Congratulations.
and thank you. In August 17th this year will be 4 years that
Okay.
I've been home.
Welcome home.
Yeah, welcome home, my
Thank
guy.
you. And just my life at that point, 16 years old, I said I was out here in the streets doing a lot of uh, shooting and selling drugs, and like I said, I took somebody's life. And at that point, I went to jail, and from like
Damn, devil's alive, man, for real.
We're gonna have
I
to.
was mad at the world, F the judge, prosecute anybody that had anything. Are we good?
Yeah, you were just you froze a little.
Oh, okay, all right. And then with that, I served. While I was incarcerated, I still was doing a lot of the same things. I said, you know what I mean, with the violence, gangs, selling drugs, and then, like I said, for the first 10 years, I was just into a lot of the bull crap, not realizing, you know what I mean, not caring about my life, because I felt like my life was over. When I was sentenced to 50 years at a young age, at 17 years old, I just didn't care about life anymore. It just my mentality had changed
Hmm.
completely. Like from this angry young teenager to now, I'm like sitting in prison with a 50-year sentence that I can't even see. I
Wow.
can't even like when I get my timesheet, and my timesheet says 2020 something, and
Wow.
it's 1989. You get what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Yeah,
So
that's real.
this is the reality that I had to face, and when I had to face that reality, it's like, wow. Then, and I'm not going to sit here and hold nobody and tell nobody that I'm this tough guy and I'm just a macho guy. When they slammed that door after I got sentenced to 50 years in prison, I cried like a baby. I
Can imagine,
cried
man.
like I cried it. I needed my mother. I wanted my mother. You know what I mean?
Mm.
At that time, that young teenage kid became a young teenage kid again. He was doing man things, and then when
Wow.
the hammer was sit down on him, he turned into that young kid again. And I was wanting my mother. And I wanted to deal with I wanted my mother, but my mother couldn't help me in this sense. You know what I mean? Because now I'm got to accept this as a man, and and when I finally realized, like I said, when I looked in that mirror and I didn't respect the person that was looking back at me, you know what I mean? I was disgusted by that. I had to change my life. I had to change my way. I had to change my actions. I know I had a daughter that she had to look up to something. She had to have somebody to look up to. She had to have a role model, somebody that, even though I was incarcerated, I still wanted her to, to look up, to see her father in a different light, because I know
Hmm.
I let my child down by being incarcerated when she was only 4 months old.
Wow.
Like, and when I was released from prison, she was 30 years old. So, I
Wow.
missed her whole existence, her whole life. I missed her prom, her all of that. So, what I would try
Mm.
to tell people,
That's heavy.
when you are incarcerated, you take not only yourself, you take everybody with you.
Hmm.
It's a whole different another world when you go into incarceration. And I try to tell people, when your mother got to come up there and be humiliated and go through a metal detector and be pat down and touched by people that she shouldn't be touched by, and things like that. The humiliating things they do, the sacrifices they make to come to make sure you're all right. So dealing with this, and I had a lot of untreated trauma. Like I said, I had a lot of untreated trauma where I went through. Where I know that I seen my father. my father was just a person that was just about nothing. His life was about hustling. He was a hustler. He was in the street. He was a heavy drinker, and he taught me everything wrong in life. Everything I learned about negative about the streets, I learned from him. And being 10 years old, being in pool halls and holding guns for him while he gambled, and watching out while he robbed stores, and things like that. And it's just con women and just manipulate women. It was just a whole thing that I seen my father do. But me being a young kid at that age, I looked up to my
For
father. He
sure,
was my
for sure.
superhero. He was somebody I thought was the greatest thing. And it's just, we got Pumas or things like that. So I I quickly, after I got sentenced, me and my father relationship, it just plummeted. I hated him. I couldn't really, I didn't like him. Like, you know what I mean? That's just, it's the truth. I just, how I felt. I felt like he was the reason why I was where I was at.
Yeah.
And, and when people say you can't blame people for what you did, yes, you can. You can blame your upbringing. You can blame your parents if they're not giving you the proper guidance. They're not
Mm,
teaching you the right from wrong. You can blame somebody.
mm,
Them the people you can blame. I can't blame the judge or the people that sentenced me, but I could blame my father because he put me on that trail.
Yeah.
And when I was incarcerated, and like I started the program called SOS, where we met with the lawyers, we met with mayors, we met with city officials, we met with a whole bunch of people. And one thing I asked one of the kids when we was in our program, I said, go back into your life and recognize where did your problem start? Where did it go way back and let me know where did this issue start from?
For sure.
And I did the assignment myself, and I went back, and it traced back to my father.
So you
My
said
issues.
SOS. So tell us about SOS. What was the program?
Okay.
Was it something that
It was on the inside
on
or
the
outside?
inside, outside? You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Counselors did it, or
Okay. SOS program was me and six other gentlemen started the program. It's called Skills of Socialization. We created our own curriculum. Um, we
okay?
have a curriculum. I got my own curriculum. I still carry it around today. It
That's
was very
fire, man.
successful. Is peer to peer. Is how you treat women, respect for women. Is thinking patterns. We had a whole bunch of things that we created. Like you know what I mean. Mock job interviews, things like that. And
Yeah.
it was a peer-to-peer program that we graduated over 500 inmates. It
Wow.
was It was volunteer at the time when the program was dismantled, and we had a waiting list of over 400 inmates
Man
that
said
was
500
incarcerated.
inmates, brother.
And he said
So
he had a wait list of 400.
yes, and the program was so successful, it went to another facility. But what they did, they applied the program to the youth in MYIs, the
Yeah.
Mantham Youth Institution, where all the teenage kids go.
Hmm.
They was busing the kids up to our facility every Thursday morning to spend 3 hours with us. Those kids spent 3 hours with us doing our program,
Let's go.
and we graduated 40 43 of them from
Wow.
NY, and we had guys that became mentors and things like that. So I thought that was the most powerful thing for me too. Is just the creation of the program and dealing with the issues and going through the program. When we was doing the lessons and the work, I was doing the work also. Even when
Yeah.
I was one of the creators of the program, I still participated and did the
Mm,
work. And
yep.
when I was doing the work was healing me.
Mhm.
Right.
But it's so powerful when you could get grown men in a room and a grown man could tell you that he'd been through some sexual molested or he was physically abused when he was younger. These are men that's incarcerated. So these are powerful
Right.
stories
Right.
that, when somebody can't read or write and they stand up and I have powerful moments. Like I have memories from when I was incarcerated. Like we, we had a kid that couldn't read and two guys stood up beside him and read his assignment for him. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And it just was a powerful moment in that room that somebody was helping somebody else.
that is
And
so
we was
Yeah.
dope,
bringing
bro.
these brothers together
It's
and
beautiful.
we all cried in that room. We
It's
cried that
beautiful.
day because
Yeah.
Mm,
that's a powerful moment. You
It
know what I mean?
is.
Because
That's sacred,
they
bro.
did some, yeah, they was helping. You know what I mean? They had that compassion for this brother. Usually he might have went through life and somebody laughed at him or cut on him because he couldn't read. You
Right.
in jail, you a certain age, you're embarrassed to tell somebody you can't read.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's the way you approach that. But through that process, it helped me. It taught me. It taught me a lot. And I took a lot of those life skills that we learned from SOS program and I brought it to when I was released, and I was in 2017. So when I came home, this is the passion that I wanted to be part of. You know what I'm saying?
So you was already
to help
doing
my
this work.
community.
You was already. What I'm hearing is you was already doing this work. This was like, bro, I'm locked in on this.
My man was killing it inside.
On the inside,
Yeah.
I'm already doing this
Brother,
work. So once I come home, like, it's not, oh, let me find something to, like, I'm doing it now.
He already
Like,
knew his purpose, right?
yes,
he understood the
and
assignment.
and
Yeah.
and like I said to you before, Mr. Outlaw, my best friend, like he was already doing the work out here already. So, and when I was calling on the phone, we used to have these conversations about life and just about how we going, what we want to do and stuff like that. And that's just called evolving when you go away. When you go away to prison, it's called changing. He went and educated himself. He got, you know what I mean, took college courses, came home. Now he's been a community outreach worker for over a decade. So, and you know what I mean, and you know, and he's being successful at it because it's not just easy work. You have to learn your skill. When you're a community outreach worker, you have to learn your skill. You have to learn body language. You have to learn a whole bunch of things that goes on with these kids that we have to learn different languages that they talk or it's
It's
just
real.
it's a full-time job. It's real. Like, you know what I mean? So if you're not paying attention, Mr. Outlaw and me, when I was already incarcerated doing a lot of these things. And when I was incarcerated, I took on the role of the chairman of our program, our group. So I used to, you know, Robert Rules of Order, we should do meetings and have with these high ranking officials. That's how I learned how to run a meeting or, you know, articulate myself and have these conversations with these higher ranking officials and get my point across, because some of these federal judges that came in, he thanked us when he left because he said, y'all taught me something today. He said, you taught me something. You taught me that it's not what I thought when I sentence a person, that a person comes in here and stays the same. You show me difference. And I told him, everybody not like this that's incarcerated. Everybody will come to jail and rehabilitate themselves. But there's a lot that is, and I think more of the court system should look into these things. When you sentence somebody to a large amount of time, I think it's your duty to be able to go back and, you know, see what these kids are doing, see what this guy is doing, see what how he's changed, get an evaluation on him. You know what I mean? Make sure he's doing the right things that he's supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Or if he's not doing the right things, but your last thought of him is that he took somebody's life and he was a bad guy and he's never going to amount to nothing. So, and that's probably what they thought about me when they sentenced me. You know, when they sentenced me to 50 years in prison, they said, your life is over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need it. You don't need a second chance. You know what I mean? So, you know, really, and my brain wasn't developed enough for me to understand it and be, you know, competent enough to know right from wrong in the sense of, you know, those things. We mature when we get older. A grown man is considered a grown man when you're 25 years old. You a grown man. But when you got teen on your when you got teen on your last number, you're a teenager. Think about that. Like, we got to think about that as our kids go through society now. A teenager shouldn't be sentenced to a large amount of time because you're destroying his mind.
You're a whole different
destroying
person.
His soul.
Whole different person.
Yes.
17, between 17 and I'm even thinking of myself, bro. 17 and 32. That's, bro. I'm not even the same dude.
Absolutely not. Like, you know, you're from 17 to 32. When you get to 32, you're a totally different person.
Facts.
You know what I mean? You don't grow, mature. You got a lot more knowledge. You know what I mean? Your brain is strengthened enough where you could know you could live in society without a parent. As you know, I mean, when you're a teenager, you live in a society you have being raised by a parent. You know what I mean? Being a grown adult means a grown adult. Like, you know what I mean? These kids nowadays try to take on this role as being a grown adult. There's a lot more responsibility that comes with just out here making these decisions. You want to shoot a gun or you want to sell drugs. That's not being a grown up. That's just, I mean, doing something harming your community. A grown up is paying bills, living the right way. You know what I mean? Being a productive citizen in our society. That's a grown up. You know what I mean? Giving back to your community in what way you can. It could be little stuff. You know what I mean? But we as individuals, we get stuck on, a lot of these kids are stuck on materialistic items.
Yeah.
Oh man,
you know what I mean?
talk about that for real.
and this is the main thing. Like right now, looking at these kids, it's just
Tiger,
all about.
Tilt your camera up just a little bit. Yeah, the top part of your head got cut off a little bit. Yeah, right there.
There you go. Yeah.
Uh, and I want people to understand that materialistic stuff is it comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
Anything we own, like this hat, all this stuff comes and goes. You know what I mean? It's replaceable because you get old, you got to replace it anyway. You got to buy something new. You know what I mean? So I try to tell them, don't put so much value into a pair of sneakers that cost $500. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just not want to hurt each other over a pair of $500 sneakers because the material only costs $2 to make. You see what I'm saying? So let's just
Facts.
keep let's just do the knowledge to it. You know what I mean? And I want our kids to value more than just a pair of jeans and a pair of sneakers and a nice coat and a and a nice and an iPhone. No, there's so much more in life. Let's educate our kids culturally. Let's take them to an
Facts.
art museum. Let's take
Yep.
them to let's take them to show them about their history. Let's
Mm-hmm.
give them some insight on what life is really about and our stories and what we and how we carry ourselves. You know, like I said, the superhero term stands for what I mean, us being available for somebody 24 hours a
Yep.
day.
You have
You know
to.
what I
Yep.
mean? It's not a sleep job. We can't say, "Well, I'm off for the weekend." No, you're not. You can say you off, but you're not. Because if your kid call you at on Saturday, you're gonna go. You're gonna go to him. You're gonna make sure he's all right. If a kid calls me on Sunday, I'm gonna make sure he's all right. I'm gonna do everything in my power. So my job is a 7-day job, is a 24-hour job. It's not something that I take lightly, and I want to take lightly. I love what I do. Trust me, I love what I do. It's like I tell people, it's a redemption story for me because at some point I was a person that committed crimes and took people's lives and just did so much negative stuff in my community. So it's a pleasure for me, it's an honor for me to come back out here and give back the right
That's
way.
dope.
You
When you
know,
came, when
it's
you
a
when you came back, you was already doing the work. The SOS program was busting. Man, you was meeting federal judges, all this, man, right? So when you got back, it must have been easy for you because you got back, you hit the community, you was ready to rock. I mean, what was it like
yeah.
getting back? Was it tough? Talk
Yeah.
to me, man.
Any
It
challenges?
it 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 is a challenge. You know what my challenge was?
What's that?
When I left society, I was this person. I had this reputation of being this person. You understand what I'm saying? So I was this person. I was Tiger. I was this. I was this. I was that. And everything that came with that label at that time was negative. So the hard part about coming home is that people seeing that you are different. You know what I mean? You have to prove that you are different. So
Mm.
if I'm saying I want to be a community outreach worker, they like
Yeah, all right,
community
bro.
Really,
outreach
bro?
worker.
you try,
Yeah, really?
yeah,
You'll
Really?
be
yeah.
on the community,
I
but probably
thought,
selling drugs.
You trying to look good
yeah,
on the
I
surface,
thought,
but on the low,
yeah,
you might still be
yeah,
pushing.
Yeah.
I thought, I assumed you was coming out to sell drugs and do the same thing you did before. You know what I mean? So, and I say that's the hardest part, like getting acclimated with your community and letting them understand who you are now and what you're about, and getting them to believe in who you are and what you're about. And now I have my trust in my community where they know who I am. They know I stand for this. They know I don't stand for gun. I'm not about gun violence. I'm not about selling drugs. I do not. I don't want nobody poisoning our communities. I hate that. You know
Mm.
what I mean? I hate to see a black man or a Spanish or Latino sitting there on homeless and I know he's on drugs. You know what I mean? Because I know one of our kids or somebody in our community poisoned him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's the anger we gotta have. When you
Yeah.
see these homeless kids and he's drunk and he's high, he on drugs, one of our young kids in our communities is selling this poison to this man.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And you killing off our community. And then what we gotta understand is that it is just the communities. We understand it's a worldwide thing. We know this. I
Yeah.
mean, it's in the
Yeah,
United States. It's just out there. It's just some are worse than others, and
yeah.
we know that. And but what we have to maintain is the persistence of
Mm-hmm.
continuing to speak and say the word, and it's being out there, being in the physical, and giving people that comfort and that support that they need. Because communities are left to, they're communities are left for dead pretty much sometimes,
Yeah.
What would you
and
say?
we
What
have
would
to
you say?
understand.
What would you say to? Because there's folks that's just like, nah, bro. You just need to lock them up, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way to fix it is just lock them all up, man. They bad folk, bro. Ain't no redeeming them, bro. Like
Yeah.
lock them up. That's what
We
we
And
don't
gotta
know.
do. We
We
need
gotta
more
have a
prisons.
change. Yeah.
What you say to what you say to them folks?
I say
Actually,
to them
you
folks,
sound like one of them.
I say,
I hear
I
from
say
them
to
all the
these
time. That's
folks,
why.
shame on you because
Mm.
you say, and when I say, and let's just do the knowledge. If you lock an angry teenager up, right? You lock him up for 30 years, right? Do you think at some point some people don't learn? So you're creating these monsters, right? You're telling this person that you tell them like lock them up. Like what we trying to do out here is prevent prison.
Facts.
That's our thing. We want to prevent prison. We want to prevent heightening these numbers that the 68% of the blacks and Latinos are incarcerated around this world. We understand these
It's
numbers.
real.
Like we got these numbers.
Hard facts.
These is real. These are hard facts. So what we're trying to understand is that we're trying to prevent. Our thing is we say violence, professional prevention. Professionals, that's what it means. We're trying to prevent you from getting incarcerated. We're trying to prevent you from going to jail. I don't want to see nobody going to jail. But if you commit a crime and it's very serious and when you have to go to jail, you have to serve, you have to pay for your consequence. You have to do, if you commit a crime, you got to pay for your crime. That's what I'm saying too. But what we're trying to do, I don't want to see nobody behind bars because I know what it does to you. And I've seen what it does to people mentally. Physically.
I was gonna ask you because I get the challenge in trying to prove yourself. How was it like? How was that process with your daughter? You know what I'm saying? She was 4 months before you get locked up, and then you know what I'm saying she's 30 years old. You know what I'm saying? How was that process? You know what I'm saying? I know that she's seeing daddy behind bars and all that. You know what I'm saying? But now you're there. You're you know what I'm saying? You've missed a lot of time. How was it? If you could talk about it.
How do you start that conversation?
Yeah.
It's like to me, one thing I always felt like I wanted to do with my daughter is always be truthful to her. We have some guys that go to prison and kids are young and they little and they start telling them that they off in college.
Yeah,
I've
heard that.
And I think
one guy said he's a truck driver. He's still telling his daughter that he's a truck driver. So it's like I've heard that before. Yeah.
It's like that's what I'm saying. And the one thing I feel like we have to do, is the reality of it is you have to tell your kid the truth. And that was one of the hardest conversations I had to have with my daughter. You know what I mean? When they was telling her I was in college and all of that, I told her, no, your father's incarcerated. Your father's in jail.
Wow.
Your father committed a crime. Your father did something bad and he ended up in jail. So yeah, she cried. She was, and then I think me and her relationship from that kind of we kind of evolved. We got mad closer because she knew my situation.
Yeah.
She didn't just think her father was off at college. She knew her father did something bad. He was in a situation where, she can not really understand it, but she knew what was going on.
Right.
And then once upon, like during incarceration, but my daughter was raised by my mother. Like at some point when I was incarcerated, my child's mother, my mother went and got my child. So I had hands on my child while I was incarcerated.
Beautiful. That's
beautiful. Like if maybe
I've heard horror
still
stories, man, get caught in the system, whatever, bro. So that's beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. And the thing that I always say when I walked out of prison, our relationship was rocky. It was. I have a beautiful granddaughter. She's 6 years old, Emily. But, my relationship with my daughter was rocky. It was very rocky. You know what I mean? It's just because we don't really know each other. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was this guy that's coming into her life after being incarcerated for 30 years. And this is a guy that she really didn't know on a personal level, really to sit down and talk to. She might have talked to me on the phone and stuff like that, but I'm hearing her face now. Like, so it was very difficult. I always tell people when I came home, I made sure I did the therapy. I went to therapy. I made sure I got,
Shout out to therapy,
got
bro.
that taken care of because
that
helped me fix my relationship with my daughter. Therapy, and I'm gonna say this, and I want to big up therapy. I want to say this to people: don't be afraid to go to therapy. Don't be afraid to go and deal with what's going on with you because if you carry that around, that don't breed great results. It don't. So we have to, as me going to a therapist when I came home, helped me immensely. It helped me a lot. It helped me repair my relationship with my daughter. It helped me kind of focus on a lot of things that I need to focus on because I got to release a lot of the stuff that I need to release when I came home. You know what I mean? Because, it's overwhelming when you walk out after doing 30 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, everything is moving fast, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So you into like a strange world. You're like an alien in a strange world. So you trying to figure it out and navigate through what's going on and stuff like that. And then prepare relationships with your daughter, and then it's like so
The emotional
we
weight of everything, bro.
Gosh, I can't imagine.
yeah, yes, and I just never dealt with uh losing my mother. Like when she passed away in 2012, I was incarcerated, so I dealt with it,
Oh, I'm
but I
sorry,
didn't
brother.
deal with it. I didn't deal with
You
it.
just kind of
So
buried it,
coming
whatever.
home,
Yeah.
yeah. So I kind of like put it in and internally, and then when I got out, full fledged, it just came out of me. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
just my grieving and my pain was just it was hard. You know what I mean? Like therapy helped me through that process. You know what I mean? Because one thing I wanted my mother to do is see me walk out of those doors
For
when I
sure.
walked
For
out,
sure. For sure.
because she was there when they put the handcuffs on me and locked me
Right.
up. So the reward for her was to watch her son walk out. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So I carry that burden with me every day. You know what I mean? I feel like I put that pressure on my mother too while being
Yeah.
incarcerated. You know what I mean? Because me and my mother was so tight, was like best friends. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's the best relationship you can have. That was my
Yeah.
superhero. Like, you know what I mean? She was my homie, my mother, my best friend. She taught me everything I know about a woman. She taught me everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I ain't learned that from a guy. I learned that from my
Yeah. Yeah.
mother.
Yeah. Shout
That's
You
out
know what
my
I mean?
dope.
dudes.
So
Yeah.
shout out to mom. Shout out to all moms. You know what I
For
mean?
Real
real.
I
talk.
salute
Real
all
talk.
queens, man.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're
And
superheroes,
one thing
man.
I can't say to they super, and I want people to understand that you only get one.
Yep.
Yeah.
You only get one mother, and I understand. I want people to understand that, and we always got to respect our queen, man. They gave us life. You know what I mean? They're the creator of us. You know what I mean? And we got to honor that. And I feel like we don't. Some people don't honor their mothers the way they
Hmm.
should do. You know
You
what I
know.
mean?
You know.
And that.
Tiger. There's this. I forget what tribe. There's in what country it is, but there's a tribe in Africa, and I remember I was learning about this when I was doing some research on indigenous practices, and so you talk about honoring mothers on the child's birthday. They get a gift for the mom
Mm.
because it's like, yo, on my birthday, I didn't do nothing. You did all the work. The gift should be for you. Like right now, like I get gifts on my birthday for what? What
So
what did
true,
I
man.
do? And so
Absolutely.
it's a way to honor the mothers in that particular culture. I thought that was real
I
dope.
might start doing that for my mom. You know what I'm saying? That
And,
might be
and,
a
and
process.
that's what, whoa, listen. And what you just said is that's real because on your kid's birthday, yeah, they should give a gift to the mother because the mother did birth him, right?
That's what that
She did all the
you
work.
gave me the gift
You're
of
here because
life.
of her.
You gave me the gift of life.
Yes.
How
So
am I not
true,
giving
man.
you? What am I looking for on my birthday?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't be here to
Yeah.
get nothing if it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
The
So
kid, yeah, that's true, brother. That's a true statement. I like that. I'm gonna take that with me.
And I do
You know what I
that
facts.
mean?
for
I'm gonna
fathers
use
too,
that
because
one.
I'm making sure my kids are listening.
Well, here's the other thing though. But we was talking around this whole thing around mothers, fathers. We were talking before, and you brought up something, Tiger, that I think is really important, man. This phrase that you said is like we're reparenting a lot of the young the people that we're working with,
Yeah.
man. Talk about that a little bit. This idea that of
Yes.
reparenting.
All right. As a violence prevention professional, when we work in these professions, community outreach work, we take on this responsibility as we pretty much raising these kids. We get kids at young age. We're raising these kids. We're helping raising these kids. It takes a village to help raise these kids, but
Yeah.
we're helping to raise the kids because you know, like I said, it's kind of like reparenting. Like we surrogate parents. Like you know what I mean? Because you would do anything for this kid. You would make sure this kid's right. You would get up and out your bed and make sure this kid got to get where you got to go. Things like that. So obviously you're taking care of this kid as if this kid was your own. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because you want him to succeed, and
Hmm.
the opportunity that you could give him. And I mean, and I want everybody to understand, like I don't see myself as a role model, but I am because I'm
Mm.
mentoring kids,
Yeah.
and they're following my
Lead. Yep.
lead. So when you don't by example, you know what I mean? We're leaders. A role model is a leader. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir.
And if you're a leader, you're a role model. You know what I mean? So let's just erase all that. People talking about we're not role models. You are a role model. If you have a child or you have a grandchild or you have anybody, a little sister, a little brother, they follow your lead. So you're a role model. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So if I go out here and do something, a crime, and my little brother coming up behind me, he's gonna want to do what his brother do. He's gonna want to
Yeah.
do what his older brother do. So when I say we parenting, we are parenting. We are parenting these kids where we making sure they got the necessities. You know, we talking to them. We what I mean, we hearing them out. We doing all the parenting things. Plus
Yeah.
we giving them the knowledge and trying to keep them out of trouble.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So it's a surrogacy thing. Like we are parents
I
to
love
these
that,
kids.
man. Tiger, we got about 5 minutes, man. You said a lot
All
of
right,
great
brother.
stuff, man. Um, But if you could, well, a little more than 5 minutes, right?
Got some
All
time.
right.
But we do this podcast for the brothers to listen, right? To listen to your story.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually found out the other day that some brothers on the end, they actually listen to the podcast as well because they got access. So, if you could give them advice, you know what I'm saying, what would it be? You know what I'm saying, like just share some knowledge.
Before you answer the question,
Mm-hmm.
Tiger, I'm a break it into two.
Mm-hmm.
The first
All right.
one is, what advice would you give to 17-year-old Tyrone Whitaker?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also, what would you tell that yourself as you look back 4 years as you was coming out? What might you share in both them different situations, if that makes sense?
All right. Yeah, it does. The 17-year-old kid, the advice I would give the 17-year-old kid now, um, is just to slow down, um, get yourself together, deal with your anger. Uh, my 17-year-old self had a lot of anger. I mean, like that's the only thing my mother used to say, but you angry as hell. That's what she said to me all the time. You're just so angry. But it was the thing. I would just say, I would tell the 17-year-old me that it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. That you don't have to choose this life. It's gonna be all right. Because a lot of the things I did at 17 when I was hustling and selling drugs, my family needed me and they
Got
needed
you.
what I
Got
was
you.
doing at the time. And I
That's
don't
real.
make that as an
No,
excuse.
no, 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 but
I
I
would
hear
never
you.
use that as an excuse. But I know I took care of my family through what I was doing, and
Yeah.
I was the breadwinner at a certain sense. The burden I took on at 17. It's just I didn't want to take that burden on. You know what I mean? And I would tell the 17-year-old me is just, you know what I mean? Go to school, get an education. I was somebody that was very, very, and I don't like to toot my own horn, but I was a very great basketball player. I
Gotcha.
was very, I could have been a Division I basketball player. I could have took it to the next level.
Let's get
I've been told that, I've been told that a million times. I've been like, I had a basketball coach, Mr. A told me this, and he used to push me. That's one of the things that I regret, like as I get older, and you know what I mean. And when you look back on it, it's like, wow, I had all this talent, right? And I could have took it somewhere. It's
Yeah.
just sad, like you know what I mean. And that I'm just one of a million guys that probably went through the same thing that
For
had this
sure.
talent
Yep.
and got caught in the street. And what I would say to the person that's walking out of prison now and 4 years later is that, you know what I mean? Uh, I'm proud of you. I- I'm proud of who you have become. I'm proud of your continuous journey. I'm proud of the way you carry yourself. I'm proud of what you're doing in the community. Um,
Word.
I'm proud of you, of how much of a father you have become, how much a great grandfather you is,
That's so
like
awesome, man.
how much a great friend, just a great friend, just a great brother, just being a great person. I would say I'm proud of myself, and just to keep up the good work and just never feel like enough is enough. We need more. We can never say enough is enough. Like, you know what I mean? We can never save one life over here and be like, oh, I saved one life, so I'm good. No, there's more lives out here that need to be saved. You know what I mean? And like I said, we throw our cape on, man. We where we at. But the person now uh, is a person that I truly respect.
Right.
I truly honor. I honor me and I respect me now, and I have that self worth that I didn't have when I was 17 years old. I value me, and I'm 100% confident in myself and what I do, and my passion for who I am and what I do. Like, you know,
For sure. For sure.
job, and I love my coworkers. You know what I mean? I love coming to work. This is like I would say, if you have a job that you love, it's never work. You know what I mean? You never consider
Yeah.
it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love to come to my building and hang out with my coworkers, and you know what I mean? Because that's just me evolving and being a different person now, and just changing my ways and action. And the smaller things I say now to my 4 year old, the smaller things are more valuable to me and more important to me now. You know what I mean? Just the fact of taking a ride and looking at the trees and just the regular normal stuff. You know what I mean? That we never settle down as young teens to really realize and look at just how just how the world works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of world out here, and there's a lot of, like, you know what I mean? Just me connecting with y'all and meeting y'all. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Through the process that we went through. You know what I mean? It just, you know what I mean? A lot of opportunities are for us and open up for us through the work that I'm doing, and I'm very appreciative, and I mean I salute you brothers for what y'all do. You know what I mean? It's always it's always a pleasure to have these conversations with y'all.
Nah, bro, we appreciate you, man, and I also want to add my words of I'm proud of you, brother.
Facts.
Thank you, brother.
You're 100% a role model to me. You're 100% an inspiration to me in the work that we do. Like you said, man, the work is hard. It's emotionally draining, spiritually draining. How and with that, how do you continue to feed your own soul, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't pour from an empty cup. So we doing all this hard work. What do you do for yourself, bro?
I have to and that's the thing too. Like, you know what I mean? It's to me, I tell myself in a sense, I'm a loner in a sense. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm by myself a lot. You know what I mean? If I'm around my kids, I'm at work, pretty much I'm by myself. And that's kind of my time to kind of regroup, like,
For
you know
sure.
what I mean? And get my self-health. You know what I mean? Just get my mind together. Like, sometimes I might just take a ride, you know what I mean? And just with the top down, just get out and but it's gathering my thoughts. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's getting myself back together. It's regrouping me. It's re-energizing me for the next day. Or, you know what I mean? It's just because I tell people, like, it's a motivation just to wake up every day. It's motivation.
I
You
like
know what I
that.
mean? Sometimes sometimes you don't have the energy. Sometimes you want to lay in that bed all day. Sometimes it might be something that be holding you in that bed. You like, I got to get up. My kid need me today. My guy need me today. I got to get up. You know what I mean? I don't want to miss. I don't want to be like, I want to, So what we do like today is I like self-help is we do like, we're going to start doing a lot of stuff. We're going to do retreats. We
Word.
want to do retreats.
Yeah.
I think meditation is good.
Yep.
I'm
You know
on
what I
that.
mean? All that, you know what I mean? I just need to learn how to do that more. You know
For
what I
sure,
mean? Like
for sure.
the process, you know what I mean? Like doing more meditation and spiritual time as far as like getting your thoughts together because this work is draining. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
Like we could like tomorrow, like yesterday I could have lost somebody. We lost
Right.
a young kid recently in the last couple of days.
I'm
You know what
sorry,
I mean?
bro.
Yeah, sorry for that. Rest in
And
peace.
and somebody that was part of the program, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's the things that, we have to deal with. That's the inner hurt that we have to deal with and just, but we had to carry on because we're trying to save the next kid. You know what I mean? And when somebody passes away, when a young kid passes away, is a black stain on us. We got to take that. We gotta be better. That's what we gotta say. We gotta get better and try to change stuff even more because
Yeah.
we don't want to experience these lives. And these kids these days, they glorify these funerals. Like I just hate these funerals now. Like
Yeah,
if
it's like a
somebody losing their
badge.
life, but oh my God, these kids come to the funeral with new clothes on, $100,000 sneakers on, and they drinking out there, and it's a celebration. No, it's not a celebration. That mother over there just lost her child.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think about that.
Yeah.
That family over there just lost. Y'all out here laughing and giggling and doing stuff,
Yeah,
and
that was a
somebody
little
just lost
kid's
their
father or
child.
something. Yeah, yep. Yep.
Absolutely. So
Damn.
let's just we got to reprogram our brains
Mm-hmm.
in society of what is a celebration and what is, you know what I mean? Was it a tragedy? Don't hope somebody lose their life so you can go to a repast and a funeral. I mean, you get dressed up to go there.
Right.
Come on. We're
Yeah.
defeating the purpose as people. Like, it's just, that's the insulting thing about what we do. Like, we have to see a lot. We have to endure a lot. We have to take on a lot. And sometimes you don't sometimes feel like you have to, but you want to,
I feel like, man, this work of connecting with these brothers, going through it, carrying it, the reparenting, all these things, man. I think the work that you've done for yourself personally, though, right, which you've invested in, like you've done the work. You went through and looked at your hurts, continuing to work through them. You talked about the therapy piece. And one of the things, man, that I love in your story and everything, I've said this to other folks, like you can't help somebody get somewhere you ain't going.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was little, right? Like my mom died when I was 15. And I remember like at
Sorry
the
about
school,
that, bro.
thank you. I remember the school being like, yo, there's somebody gonna talk to you about it. And my first question to them was, did they mom die? Do they know, like, how did they read some book? And I'm not trying to put off the folks that are professionals in it, but there's it's a different engagement, right? When you've done the work yourself, you're going through and you can help talk to that brother about, yo, this is, as we wrap up, bro, just talk a little bit about like what that is, man, to be able to speak into like, hey, what you went through to help these brothers understand kind of on their path, the roadmap. Hey, this was gonna come up, man. This frustration, I get it. Like these kind of things, bro.
Yes, it is. It's just like I tell you, brother. Like we like a lot of us share in common the same things. Like you lost your moms. I lost my moms, and I just don't want. I wish that on nobody, because I feel like the nurturing part of our lives we lost out on. You know what I mean? Those are our nurturers. Our mother is our nurturer. Like, you know what I mean? We could have a father, whatever. Our mother is the one that nurtures it. Your mother is the one that unconditionally never let you down in your life ever. You know what I mean? So you could say one person in life that never let me down is your mother. You know what I mean? So we take that and we hold that. That's precious to us. Like, you know what I mean? So I travel with that every day. But the advice I try to give these young kids now is that I've been through it. I try to share my story with them, let them know I've been through it. I've seen it. I experienced it. You never been my age. I've been your age, and I'm trying to give you some insight, some knowledge to what can prevent you from going down the path that I went down, because nobody was around to tell me what I was doing wrong. They just the older guys was just giving me the drugs and let me go out and commit the crime. You know what I mean? So nowadays, I feel like these young kids have an advantage because they have us. They have us to tell them that they're doing wrong. They have us to try to steer them in the right direction. You know what I mean? But we also got to let them know that we understand that there's a lot of peer pressure. There's peer pressure for young teenagers to participate in things that they probably don't want to participate in. But, you know, it's being a popular kid in high school or being with the popular crowd. Being the smart person and the geek in school is not popular. We know that. And that's what we need to make clearly, is that being smart and educated is popular. You know what I mean? But we as these young kids from the urban communities, they think opposite of that. You know what I mean? Although it's just about, if he comes in, his clothes ain't up to par, then it's not. He's smart. He got a 4.8 average, but you still want to talk about him. But this guy right here is going to be a successful somewhere. He's going to be rich one day. But you know what I mean? And you're going to be still sitting around laughing at him when you feel like that is not the right thing to do. We got to reverse the curse. What I'm trying to say is these kids, what they glorifying, being smart is popular. Not getting an education is not popular. That's what we would say to them. We want them to understand that. Not having an education, because I want people to stand on you. You got to have a diploma or GED. That's your foundation to be able to succeed anywhere in life, anywhere. You know what I mean? If you think you're going to come out here and get a job, you need something. You need a paper trail to be able to get a job. So I want them to understand.
Yeah.
It's not easy, you know. Like when I came home, they couldn't find any of my school records, my GED from when I was incarcerated. You understand what I'm saying? They couldn't find it. They lost all my records, right? So now I'm behind the 8 ball. So guess what I do? I go and I knock it out. I get it. I do it all over again. Even though if I didn't have to, but I did it.
Committed.
You know why? Go out and do it again. So I went and took the whole test over again. You know what I mean? And I made sure, and I did it within 2 to 3 months. I sat down, I made sure I got it done. You know what I mean? It's just the perseverance. We got to understand. Education to me is important. You know what I mean? And I can't, and for one thing, and I wanted to be able to do that for too, because if I'm telling my kid that he need to graduate from high school, he said, where your diploma at? And if I ain't got nothing to show him, then then how I'm looking? You know what I mean? Even though I said I did it, I got to be able to show him. You know what I mean? So I want to have that paper trail to say, okay, listen, I graduated, I did mine. You know what I mean? You got to get yours. You know what I mean? So we just got to make sure we reverse the curse. Tell people education is popular.
Nah,
what you're doing is not popular.
Spot on.
You know what I mean? Because right now we as this is speaking for me. I'm not speaking for me. The school systems here in New Haven, Connecticut are failing our kids. That's what I feel.
100%.
And I just don't. It just to me, it just that's what it is. You know what I mean? I don't want to go to. I go to see my kid at school, and they tell me that my kid is graduating in June, but my kid reads on a freshman level, right?
Man,
he can't read or write.
Tiger, talk, man. We about to wrap up. I wish we.
You know what I mean?
Because that's real talk. How do we get to a point? How do we get to a point that that's acceptable? That's okay? Like we all know this, and we just like, all right.
And you know why they doing it? and then when you look at the school system, how many graduates you have? Oh, the graduate rate is exceptional. But how many of them done been arrested and be incarcerated? It's a money thing. It's a numbers thing, and I just don't like that. That you could graduate my kid and he can't read or write. So how is he going to go out and make a successful living? He's going to the street. You just gave him a diploma, and he ain't going to use it. He ain't have a chance to use it because he can't. He don't even know what the diploma says. He probably can't even write. He didn't write his name on it. You get what I'm saying?
That's real.
For real.
This is the nonsense that we go through on a daily basis, and they want, and we have to be there for these kids, but you're failing him on the educational level. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Damn. We got to get it. That's what I'm saying. You want us to, they put it on us that sometimes say, well, the community outreach, well, y'all got to make sure he's going to school, make sure he's doing this.
That's true.
But when we get him in school, make sure he's doing the work. That's all we want you to do. Make sure he's doing the work. Make sure he's passing. Make sure he understands the work that he's given. Make sure he's not somebody that's going to go out into society and can't read or write, and he's going to go to the street and commit a murder or take somebody's life, and then he don't know how to read or write. And then you sitting back, you go back to that school the next day and you teaching the same kid, you ain't teaching him shit. You let him go right by again while this kid sit up in the penitentiary with 100 years. You know what I mean? Because you failed him and you didn't want to teach him. We could teach, but they need to.
That's 100 right there.
Speaking the truth, man.
All 100. This is Ron signing off. Tiger.
Can you hear me?
We got you, man.
Can you hear me?
We just about to sign off, bro.
All right, brother.
But we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you joining us, man.
Thank you so much, Tiger, man. It's an honor.
Yeah, brother. It's a pleasure, brother.
We're coming down to New Haven, too, sometime soon. We're coming down to New Haven.
We're going over there.
Soon.
You got to find a good food spot just to talk, man.
Listen.
That curriculum that he has, man, I want to check that out.
Yeah, definitely. When you guys coming down here, you got my number. You got me. Just hit me up, man. Just when y'all coming down here, I'm around, brother. We sit down and we kick it. Just let us know when you come.
Man.
All right. Well, until next time, brother. all of us who's listening, Tiger, June, me, remember, be legendary.
Peace.
Peace.